evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on TV1. Today is the 22nd of March 2021. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Mahanayak. Here are your headlines for tonight.
The final rites of Most Venerable Agamaha Pandita Kotugoda Damava Sathera to be carried out on Thursday with full state honours. Janata Vimukti Peramuna marches in Colombo against environmental destruction. A group of residents in Chunnakadu Reserve in Kantale evacuated from their homes. President and the Prime Minister make phone calls to Islamic world leaders.
Final rites of the chief prelate of the Umarpura sect, Most Venerable Agamaha Pandita Kotugoda Damava Sathera, is to be held on Thursday with full state honours.
The 88-year-old Most Venerable Kotugoda Dammavansa Mahanayak resided at the Dharmapala Temple in Mount Lavinia. He passed away this morning while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Professor Kapila Gunawardana, said that it had been decided to hold the cremation ceremony of the chief prelate's remains next Thursday at the Independence Square in Colombo. Born on the 26th of January 1933 in Kotugoda in Gampaha, the Most Venerable Damava Sathera received his primary education at the Kotugoda Buddhist Mixed School. He took on the robe at the age of 15 and was educated at the Parama Dhamma Chetya Pirivena in Ratmalana. He was ordained on the 10th of July 1954 in Kalutara and since then has been carrying out his mission on behalf of the Sasana and society at large, dedicating himself for the betterment of the Buddha Sasana. Most Venerable Kotugoda Damava Sathera has held high positions in the Umarpura Nikaya since the year 1970. In recognition of his great efforts, the government of Burma conferred on him the title Agamaha Pandita in 2007. Venerable Damava Sathera was ordained as the Uttaritara Mahanayak of the Umarpura Nikaya in 2017. The Most Venerable Thero has been conferred with a number of honorary titles including Dharmapala Vanshalankara, Saddharma Kirti Shri Tripitaka Visharada, Pravachana Kirti Shri and Sasana Shobhana. The Most Venerable Mahanayak Thero has authored more than 30 books in his work for the propagation of the Buddha Dharma. Preaching the Dhamma to both the ruling class and the lay in equal terms, the name of the Most Venerable Kotugoda Damava Sathera will forever be remembered. Most Venerable Agamaha Pandita Kotugoda Damava Sathera, may you attain the supreme bliss of Nirvana.
Main sponsor.
LG OLED TV. Color that goes beyond clarity.
The initiative named Surakimuganga was launched today to protect the country's rivers and water systems. The inauguration ceremony of the event was presided over by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
The Surakimuganga National Program was officially launched today when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa unveiled a special memorial plaque erected near the Manik River at the historic Ruunu Kataragama Sacred Grounds.
What we are doing to develop the environment is not only down to the next generation, but this generation of ours as well. One generation can do a great deal to save this environment of ours. When the plight of these people are conveyed to me, when the dairy farmer says there is no grassland available to feed their cattle, I, as the head of state, have to come up with a solution. If the lands that were traditionally cultivated by our farmers have been removed from them due to some mistake, we must take practical steps to provide them with solutions. This is misinterpreted as me saying that they would be allowed to cut down trees. Those farmers and the people living in the villages will never destroy the forest. They protect the environment. Some development is needed to keep these people alive. It should be sustainable development. Officials need to keep in mind that these rules have been brought in and we should always follow them when implementing these laws. We work for the people. It is useless to oppress the people and protect the law. You have to be practical in enforcing the law. If they are not practical, we will not be able to implement them. It is difficult. It is also easier not to work. Working is hard. You have to have some commitment towards it.
මේව ටිකක් අමාරුයි. වැඩ නොකර ඉන්න නම් ලේසි. වැඩි කරන්න අමාරුයි. ඒකට කැපවීමක් තියෙන්නට ඕන.
The complete speech delivered by the President was telecast on Sirasa TV at 6:30 p.m. earlier today. It can be viewed on Newsfirst's YouTube channel. In more local news, Director of Irrigation D. Abesirivardhana, speaking at a program on our sister channel, Sirasa TV, said that the gazette notification required to safeguard water resources in the country not being issued has posed multiple threats.
The general public is scolding our department, saying that there are no trees covering the wevers. You can find that tree cover on the banks of the wever. Recently, the President said that this has to be completed within 6 months. But there are various issues pertaining to this matter. There was a national committee appointed to look into this matter.
ඉතින් නමුත් මේක විවිධ හේතුන් තියෙනවා විවිධ ගැටලු තියෙනවා ඇති කියලා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා මේකට ජාතික මට්ටමේ කමිටුවක් පත් කරා කොහෙද ඔක නතර වෙලා තියෙන්නේ නතර වෙච්ච තැන් බොහෝ තියෙනවා ඉතින් හොයලා
There are many places that this has come to a stop. This can be gazetted any day. The problem is anyone not taking steps to do it.
ඒක තමයි ගැටලුව තියෙන්නේ
ඒලා ගැසට් එක ආවොත් අපේ ගංගා ටික ආරක්ෂා වෙනවද අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම වැව් ටික ආරක්ෂා වෙනවා ගොඩක් මීටරට ගොඩක් මාර්ග ටික ආරක්ෂා වෙනවා සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ආරක්ෂා වෙනවා
These were the views expressed by environmentalist Sanjeeva Chamikara at a media briefing held today.
Minister Chamal Rajapaksa clearly stated plans for the construction of 2 reservoirs in Singharaja and that the water to be obtained from the 2 reservoirs will be diverted to Hambantota through a tunnel system. We know that the Umarpura diversion project has become completely fruitless. We state very clearly, it has been made very clear in the project reports prepared on several occasions that this project is being implemented to obtain the required water for large-scale development projects in Hambantota. When the Lankagama road was being constructed, it was clearly stated that this road was being constructed to provide road access to the people of Lankagama. But today it has become very clear that this is being done under the guise of providing road facilities to the people of Lankagama in order to build these reservoirs and build the infrastructure required for the Ginnilwala project. Do not execute these projects in the way the Chinese companies want. There is no possibility of re-establishing natural forests in an ecosystem like Singharaja. Singharaja is a World Heritage Site. Failure to protect World Heritage Sites means a black mark will be cast upon our country.
Today marks World Water Day. Over 100 rivers carrying colossal bodies of water relentlessly flow to the sea each day. All these rivers feed off natural water springs deriving from the central highlands of the country. Sri Lanka's bond with water is timeless. We today are the proud inheritors of thousands of wevers, a novel concept of our very own ancestors, and a robust irrigation system developed by our forefathers, which surpassed technological advancements of the time. Unfortunately, that bond has been tarnished in recent times, with many communities in rural Sri Lanka being deprived of clean drinking water. Annual studies conducted by Gammadda together with the University of Peradeniya, which saw multiple teams journeying to the most downtrodden areas of Sri Lanka, brought forth a grim revelation of the acute shortage of clean drinking water in most parts of the island. Realizing the need of the hour, Gammadda mobilized its resources by way of community outreach programs to overcome this challenge on behalf of the people, together with the people. Boralegama in Valigama, Hambegamuwa, Vallawala, Diyawela, Kabitigollava, Thanamalwila, Kiwlegama, Tumbullegama, Karadugala Bibila, Atharagallava and Kalekumbukwewa in Thalava, Anuradhapura are but a few communities which have benefited through water projects initiated and completed by Gammadda. Children are the future of our nation, and it is only apt that they do not face a semblance of inconvenience in their pursuit of education. Hence, Gammadda successfully vested a multitude of drinking water projects at schools, including the Agaliya Mahavidyalaya in Outer Chennai, Batiklo, Mahabellana Primary School in Alubomulla, and the Paragala Primary School in Matara. Recognizing the need to study our ancient irrigation system, the Gammadda Vaving Vavata program was launched in 2017, supported by the University of Peradeniya, to preserve our invaluable cascade system, which is inherent to our nation. Through this, Vavers and drainage patterns of the cascade system were mapped, and the data uncovered through the study was published as a report. In April 2018, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations declared Sri Lanka's cascade system as a World Heritage Site. Sri Lanka's rivers, Vavers and its sophisticated irrigation system is ours and ours only. Hence, the responsibility of preserving, protecting and developing Sri Lanka's unparalleled natural water sources is ours and ours only. The UN Core Group on Sri Lanka will table a resolution against the country during the 46th Human Rights Council sessions at 1:30 p.m. local time tomorrow.
The resolution against Sri Lanka will be tabled before the UN Human Rights Council by the UN Core Group tomorrow. The Core Group, led by the United Kingdom, comprises Germany, Canada, Montenegro, Northern Macedonia and Malawi. This would be the sixth resolution tabled before the UN Human Rights Council since 2012 on promoting reconciliation, accountability and human rights in Sri Lanka. The draft resolution, identified as 46/1 and seen by Newsfirst, showed that 41 countries have identified themselves as co-sponsors and additional co-sponsors of the resolution so far. This includes 12 of the 46 countries that are member states of the UN Human Rights Council.
China has informed us that they will be requesting a vote on the matter. The countries that have signed the resolution against Sri Lanka only represent one part of the world. That is North America and Western Europe. Not a single country from the Asian subcontinent have signed this resolution. From that, it is clear that this resolution has a narrow geopolitical objective. When you look at the world, is Sri Lanka the most problematic country? What threat does Sri Lanka pose to the world?
අටු භූගෝල ශාස්ත්‍රීය ප්‍රදේශ නියෝජනය කරන මතයක් තමයි අඩංගු වෙලා තිබෙන්නේ මෙම යෝජනාවේ. අද ලෝකයේ තත්ත්වයේ දෙස බලන විට සේට වඩා ගැටලු සහිත ප්‍රදේශය ලංකාවද? ලංකාවෙන් ලෝකයට තිබෙන තර්ජනය කුමක්ද?
A decision on whether the resolution should be adopted after a vote or not would be made after the resolution is tabled before the UN Human Rights Council. The 46 member states of the UNHRC will vote on the resolution if it is to be taken up for a vote during tomorrow's sessions. The UN Core Group on Sri Lanka would require a majority of the votes under the simple majority system to pass the resolution against Sri Lanka. Speaking at this year's UNHRC sessions, Sri Lanka had rejected the resolution, citing it as a political move that infringes the sovereignty of a country. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa have made phone calls to world Muslim leaders a day before the UN Human Rights Council takes a vote on a resolution against Sri Lanka. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, is the world's largest Muslim body consisting of a number of Muslim countries which are part of the UN Human Rights Council. The OIC said in a statement, Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Dr. Youssef A.A. Otaimin, has received a phone call yesterday from President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who discussed with him the existing relations between the OIC and Sri Lanka, as well as the situation of the Muslim community in the country. Al-Otaimin praised the Sri Lankan President's phone call and his willingness to open up and reach out to international organizations, and welcomed the decision of the government of Sri Lanka on the right of Muslims to bury their in accordance to Islamic rights. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that he had telephoned Deputy King Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa of Bahrain yesterday. The Prime Minister tweeted saying they reviewed bilateral ties and other areas of cooperation that can be further solidified. Bahrain is also a member of the UN Human Rights Council.
The Police Terrorism Investigation Division has arrested a 42-year-old male who was undergoing quarantine at the Valigama Quarantine Centre after returning from overseas.
Police officials stated that the suspect was arrested in connection with the April 21st attack and added that 2.7 million rupees was also found in his possession.
It is reported that he has raised funds from the United Arab Emirates to carry out the spread of extremism as well as extremist terrorism. He is also reported to have supported the spread of extremist Wahhabist ideologies. He was deported to Sri Lanka for this reason. The Terrorism Investigation Division is working to detain and question him under the Prevention of Terrorism Act.
The Colombo Crimes Division recorded a statement from MP Rajitha Senaratne and former MP Chathura Senaratne today. The statement was about the alleged abduction of journalist Sujiva Gamage. Rajitha Senaratne and Chathura Senaratne, who arrived at the Colombo Crimes Division at 11:15 this morning, left the premises at 4 p.m.
This is about the abduction of the freelance journalist Sujiva Gamage and his subsequent hospitalization. As a doctor and also as a former Minister of Health, I have sent tens of thousands of patients in this manner over the years.
ඒවා ඔක්කොම එයා කියලා තියෙනවනේ එයා උසාවියට ඉදිරියට කරන අපිට කියන්නේත් ඒක තමයි යා. ඔබතුමා අහුවද? නෑ. ඒ සිද්ධීන් ගැන අපි මුකුත් දන්නේ නෑ. එච්චරයි. මුණ ගැහෙන ආවිලාවේ මේ හඬපටයක් කියන මොකක්ද? නෑ නෑ ඒ වෙලාවේ කතා කරන්නේ මම කිව්වේ වොමිටිං ඇන් හෙඩේක් කියන දෙක ආවොත් වෙන මොන ලෙඩදී වුණත් ඉස්සෙල්ලාම යාව වාම එමර්ජන්සි ප්‍රතිකාර ආරම්භ කරන්න ඒගොල්ලන්ට කියලා. මම ඒකින්ද කිව්වා තමසේ ගිහිල්ලා ඉස්සෙල්ලාම ප්‍රතිකාර ගන්නවා. ඉතුරු ඒවා ටික පස්සේ කතා කරත හැකි අපිත් ඉන්නවනේ.
A group of parliamentarians representing the Samagi Janabalavege visited the Special Economic Centre in Narahempita today to inquire into the current prices of rice.
Since Minister Bandula Gunawardena always says that the Economic Centre and Satasa have given the prices, we came to the Economic Centre to check the availability of the budget pack that is supposedly in place for the upcoming festive season. The Brigadier said that all the data is there and readily available. He said there is so much in this store and so much in the other. They said there are many tools. Then the government told us that they would buy 300,000 metric tons of paddy via the Paddy Marketing Board. What we understand is that the Paddy Marketing Board have not even brought 20,000 tons of paddy. There is a program involving the district secretaries and then there is also a program by the Food Commissioner. Despite all this, we do not believe that more than 30,000 metric tons of paddy has been procured. Now they are to import 100,000 metric tons of ponni samba from India. Did the government say that rice will be brought from India? What did the government say to win the election? They said we'd stand for agriculture. We are the ones who have the ability to nurture the local producer. However, the failure of the government can be seen when they ship 100,000 kilos of rice. I will say this in a brief manner. I will recite a short poem.
නාරහෙම් පිට සම්බා දැක ඩඩ්ලිව මතක් වුණා කැසට් වගේ ගැසට් ගහපු අපේ සර් ෆේල් වුණා.
Up next is a short commercial break. Stay tuned.
An entertainment experience unmatched, unparalleled, and unrivaled in every way. LG OLED TV. Color that goes beyond clarity.
Do your online shopping now with Sambole.lk to get it home delivered or pick up on your way.
Sambole.lk.
A protest march was held opposite the Colombo Fort railway station today. The march was organized by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna and a large number of people including representatives of environmental organizations, civil activists and voluntary organizations participated in this event.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna started its protest march at the Maradana Technical Junction this afternoon, demanding an end to environmental destruction. The group reached the Colombo Fort railway station on foot.
Our country is currently seeing unprecedented destruction on the environmental front. Some hotels are being built around Singharaja today. Surrounding forests are being cut down, and all this is being done under the protection and patronage of government politicians. A government of sand miners and smugglers are coming together and destroying the future of this country. They are all doing this while wearing the patriotic label and are bringing this country to ruin in the process. Therefore, we invite all the people of this country, regardless of party affiliation, to oppose those who are working to destroy the ecosystem and the environment. We invite people to unite to urge and force the rulers to put an end to this culture of bulldozing.
සිංහල දෙමළ මුස්ලිම් ජාති ભેදයකින් තොරව මේ පරිසර පද්ධතිය විනාශය අපි හැම දිනකටම මරු කැඳවනවා. අපේ අනාගතයට මරු කැඳවනවා. ඒ නිසා මේ පරිසර පද්ධතිය ආරක්ෂා කර ගැනීම වෙනුවෙන් ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂගේ මේ ඩෝසර් සංකල්පයට විරුද්ධව මහා වනාන්තර මේ ඩෝසර් සංකල්පය පරාජයටපත් කිරීම සඳහා ජනතාවට එකතු වෙන්න කියන ආරාධනය තමයි අද අපි මෙතෙන්ට එක්රැස් වෙලා බල කරලා කියා සිටින්නේ පාලකයන්ට නතර කරන්න ජනතාවට එකතු වෙන්න කියලා.
අපි නන්ද සේනලට කියන්න කැමති මේ වතුර බීපු මිනිස්සු මේ තුන් වේල කාපු මිනිස්සු මේ මහ පොළවේ ජීවත් වෙන මිනිස්සු.
We would like to tell Nanda Sena, these are people who drank water, who ate 3 meals, who walked these lands, and that we will not allow anyone to destroy it. Now they are saying that these are lies. He said there is no deforestation and that he is the one who has protected the environment. He asks who did more than what he has done. What he has done is clear to be seen. Nanda Sena is scared of the truth. The Mahasangha, environmentalists and all go and shed the light on the environmental destruction, but he says there is no damage. We ask that Nanda Sena comes to the places we state and he can see the destruction. The Singharaja is a World Heritage Site. That means it is on the list. He put it all aside. When Nanda Sena goes to the villages, the trees start to tremble. The animals run in fear. The elephants get down from Handapangella, go through Bovititanna and go to the Valankanda Reserve. The Wildlife Department has put up signs saying that this is a reserve, but when we go there are bulldozers right next to the sign. They have destroyed the springs and turned them into ponds. How can they say no?
ඒක දැකපු භාග්‍ය කියපු වෙලාවෙ ඉඳන් මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ? කියපු වෙලාවෙ ඉඳන් භාග්‍ය පස්සේ සෞභාග්‍ය පන්නනවා. 20 ඕනේ කිව්වා. 19 එපා කිව්වා.
From the moment that young Bhagya spoke of what she saw, Saubhagya started running after Bhagya. They said that they wanted the 20th Amendment, saying that it is only then that they can bring prosperity. As the powers got vaster, Singharaja became shorter. Wilpattu, Rumasala all became smaller, but the sugar scam became bigger. The Easter Tax Commission became blank bullets. Then Johnny and Rohita were acquitted from their cases. That is the vista of prosperity and splendor. According to Nanda Sena's vision, he will grow flowers in the Singharaja moving forward. He will build walking paths. That is the environment he knows. In Umarpura, near the Rambakanoya, where the Adivasi community lives, did you not give away 5,000 acres to businessmen? The milk rice they ate has now become poisonous.
A group of people who were residing in temporary houses in the forest area near Viharagala temple adjacent to the Kantale sluice gate were evacuated today.
දවස් දෙකක් දෙන්න අපිට chance ආයි දවස් දෙකක් තුනක් නෑ මෙතන පැය භාගයක් ඇතුළත මෙතනින් අයින් වුණොත් එහෙම අනිවාර්යෙන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්නවා දරුවන්ට කන්න දෙනවා මේන් බලන්න මේ ටිකට් පැකට් එක අර ගෙනල්ලා මේන් අතේ තියෙන මේකෙත් තමයි රුපියල් 75ක් තව කඩේට දෙන්න තියෙනවා හරි හරි ඔබේ පස්සේ තේරෙන්නේ නෑ කෙලිය වෙට ගන්න අපිට කුලියට ඉන්න තැනක් හරි හදලා දීලා රුපියල් මේ වගේ හේන්නට කරගෙන මේ වගේ ප්‍රතේ කතා කරගෙන නේ උසාවි නියෝගයක් එක්ක තමයි මෙතනට ආවේ.
Later, the Kantale forest officials took action to arrest the person. When Newsfirst inquired from the Kantale Forest Office, we were told that the houses which were built in an area that is said to belong to the Chunnakadu Reserve had been previously ordered to be removed. The Kantale Forest Office stated that steps have been taken to evacuate the squatters. While such an incident was reported in Kantale, no arrests or interrogations have been reported so far in connection with the construction of a waterway on a land near the Singharaja Reserve in Rakwana. Meanwhile, an organization called the National Movement for the Protection of Magampura Traditional Agrarian People engaged in a protest opposite the Hambantota Administrative Complex today, requesting that the proposed Wild Elephant Management Reserve not be gazetted. They are trying to claim ownership for what we have earned. Nobody have died as a result of wild elephant attacks in our area. We will live with the elephants. The areas where the Mattala airport and the harbour have been built are also jungles where the elephants live. The mayor of Hambantota was also present with a group of protesters. When the highway was to be built, the priests went and blessed and then proceeded to ordain a tree. It will cost 6.8 billion rupees extra to build the highway, avoiding the said tree. This protest is also being carried out with the sponsorship of certain non-government organizations. The group dispersed following a discussion with the district secretary.
The farmers who are protesting for the proposed wild elephant management reserve to be gazetted responded to the earlier protest in this manner. We urge the government to look into this protest very well. Those who are protesting here are labourers of stone quarries. If there is a group of people who say that the habitat of the animals should be protected, then provide justice to those people. There are several protests across the island surrounding the environment and long-standing issues faced by farmers. There are several protests across the island surrounding the environment and long-standing issues faced by farmers. Sathera commenced a march from Kandy to the Presidential Secretariat against the environmental destruction and the need for a solution for the wild elephant issue. Venerable Madirigiriye Sikhi Thero commenced his march after obtaining blessings from the sacred tooth relic. The Thero arrived at Kegol on the first day of his march. The deforestation should stop. The people who are there to look into these issues are very low in number. They can't be looking into every incident. I have made a plea from the sacred tooth relic about all this and I will meet the president. The protest launched by farmers of the Walsapugala area seeking the proposed wild elephant management reserve be gazetted is continuing for the 65th day. The Inter-University Students' Federation also extended support today. The protest commenced by farmers of Galgamwa is also continuing for the 7th day today. They are demanding a scientific solution to the wild elephant issue. The Satyagraha launched by farmers in Madavachya is ongoing for the 4th day. They are holding their Satyagraha in support of the protest held by the farmers of Walsapugala. For the 6th day, a Satyagraha is being held in Mahyanganaya in support of the Walsapugala farmers' protest. A group of farmers arrived in Colombo today to hand over an epistle at the Presidential Secretariat. They arrived from Madirigiriya and are claiming that promises were made to them at the Gama Samaga Pilisandara program that have yet to be achieved.
Meanwhile, the leader of the indigenous community, Uruwarige Vanilatto, convened a media briefing today.
Rambakan Oya Pulle, but the leader called on me. Then I went and looked into it. Leaders say there is no such destruction. Others say that arrests should be made for speaking so much on these matters. So when they say there is an environmental catastrophe taking place, leaders should go to these places and investigate into it and inquire into the devastation that has taken place here rather than claiming that there is no such thing. I think the president does not believe this, as someone must be feeding him information on this. What I think at this time is that moving forward, all these claims should be investigated before deciding whether these claims are to be believed or not. We decided to make a special request from the president as we see that the drug menace is raising its head again. We urge the president to immediately look into whether the underlying agenda of those who lie about this alleged deforestation is actually an agreement with the drug traffickers.
More news follows after this short commercial break.
We played well as a team. We are happy about that. After a while, Sri Lanka was able to play as one team and bring honour to the country in a final. I think the fans are now excited for the sport again. That is good for the future of cricket in Sri Lanka.
And with that, it's a wrap of primetime news on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Zamal Ratnaik alongside our sign language interpreter for tonight, Taraka Gabriel. We end tonight's bulletin with the following remarks expressed by the acting Mahanayak of the Umarpura Mahankaya, Most Venerable Yalgamuwe Damava Sathera, at the Attapatra awarding ceremony of the Anunayaka of the Ramanya sect, Most Venerable Nadagamuwe Vijay Maitri Thero. Take care, stay safe, and good night.
The epilogue. We do not like to say this, but what we hoped for following the election win of this government has not been done. The reason for our bhikkhus to come into disrepute is because we work to bring in new leaders and topple governments under the belief that the leader we have brought is a good one. We have seen this for 70 years. We saw the leaders who worked very well, and among them there were presidents who did things that suit the country. Deforestation is being carried out by our politicians on a large scale. So think about this country. This is a small island. There are about 20 million people in Tokyo. That is the same as the population of this entire country. There are so many MPs and ministers in the provincial councils and Pradesh Sabhas. The country is in the same place. We have fallen into debt. So after seeing the young monks who speak against these, the ambassadors of various countries speak against us, saying we have no discipline, adding that we are the reason this country can't be fixed, that is very wrong.
අපේ කිසිම සංවරකමක් නැහැ මේ භික්ෂුන් වහන්සේලා තමයි මේ රට හදන්න දෙන්නේ නැත්තේ කියලා. නෑ ඒක සම්පූර්ණ වැරදි.
The epilogue.